Hello everybody, my name is Pravus and welcome back to more Plague Inc. Evolved custom scenarios. Alright, we got at least one more we're going to try before I get back into Valheim and such, and this one is called Unknown. I have no idea what it is called, but I do know that I have already subscribed to it, so we should be able to find it somewhere, right? God, you'd like to think so. There it is, by M. Gerbevach. It's pretty forward and exciting. I don't know. Very exotic name. An unknown pathogen broke out. It is a weird DNA structure similar to dinosaurs. Newest researches show that it mutates very often and is often severe. Can you infect the world before the government and scientists cure you? Well, that is often the goal of the game. Why are my genes all messed up? It's very frustrating how this keeps happening. We're gonna go for creationist in order to slow down the mutation just because it might end up being a little bit too exciting there. We're gonna go for the aqua side. I think that's fine. Extremophile, and of course, let's go for symptostasis. I think that will end up being okay. All right, let's go ahead and play it. You know what? Let's do it again on brutal. That's 3 scenarios in a row we're gonna do on brutal difficulty. We can do these things. You are an unknown virus called Malleus humanius. Your main goal is to spread as fast as possible since this virus mutates unbelievably often. Well, thankfully, we have the power of creation on our side, so that should slow it down a little bit. We have to start in Southeast Asia. Fascinating. The symptoms of this virus are severe. It will cost DNA points to delete them. Interesting. So, wait, we do not want a lot of these? We have to spend our DNA to reduce it? Fascinating. I'm curious if the symptostasis breaks this right off the bat, actually. Because if it ends up being free to devolve the stuff, well, the cost will never go up. We might find ourselves in a pretty good position. Memory loss. That did not take long. We have like 2 people infected and we already got a mutation. That is pretty punishing, I'm not gonna lie. We have air, we have fomites, and we have a zoonotic shift, increasing the future research speed. I'll go ahead and pick this up for the infectivity because I think that every little bit is ultimately going to help. Could increase the mutation even further. Not sure I want to do that. Viroid breakdown. Thanks to a very broken mutation rate, the DNA is ripped to shreds, partitally. This reduces misspelled the mutation rate a lot. That might actually end up being necessary. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Mutation is one of those things that can be really good for you and like save your games, but it also can absolutely demolish your games if you are unlucky. So I don't like relying on luck too much personally, so I sometimes will fight back on some of that. These actually all seem to increase infectivity and severity by roughly equivalent amounts. So I'm not sure I necessarily need to get rid of the vomiting, but more severity than that is not going to end up being very good for me. Southeast Asia is considered to be rural. Let's go ahead and grab wolf. I don't even know if there are wolves native in Southeast Asia. Maybe there are. But it increases my infectivity, so that's all that matters. We need to get birds and stuff, too. A bit of land transmission would be fantastic for me. Though, of course, the problem with zoonotic transmissions is they are going to increase my mutation chance further. Bats, that's a lot of infectivity. That's a lot of damage. So I can't really say no to that. We need to get out of Southeast Asia. And we don't have access to an airport to start. So air transmission isn't quite as impactful as you might like to believe. What we want to do is get into China and get things like fomites, and then get the air so that we can quickly get the frick out of here. Diarrhea, okay, well, we can devolve it. I mean, I can handle it temporarily. That's a lot of severity, dude. If we got lucky, maybe we could start mutating the less impactful things. That would be great. If you want to do that game, I would not be opposed. All right, we're in China. Let's get the fomites going. Okay, Festival of Love in Indonesia with the nausea that actually works out okay for me. 13 points is what we need to get on airplanes with the air transmission. I mean, you can get on them outside of air transmission. It can happen, but it's not as likely. All right, so we have been discovered. That's to be expected with this much severity. How could it not? There's the air transmission. We'll pick that up, try to get on a few boats. If we can get some critical mass in India and in China, that will make my life a heck of a lot easier. Birds would not be a bad option. We did get anemia, which is a weaker option. Cysts are still a thing, lots of severity, but so far I think this is somewhat manageable. Horses are for rural. Don't care about that. So we have double rural options. Fomites are my only urban infectivity, also wealthy. Fomites are pretty darn good. Like, you can't really complain about those. Getting the urban and the wealthy is basically a double whammy on Europe and the United States. Makes life easy. Let's go for the birds. We're gonna go for that just land transmission, try to get the heck out of here. Now, Malleus humanius is beginning to spread around the world. Use the world data menu in the bottom right to see which countries are not infected, as if I need a tutorial on how to play the game, but I appreciate the effort. All right, that land transmission's starting to work out pretty nicely for us. I'm going to go for some more fomites since we are going to be getting into Europe about now and the United States, and I want to have basically a poor man's infectivity plus drug resistance. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and pick up some drug resistance and spread a little bit faster in places like China as well as Europe. Also, cold resistance time is necessary, and so far we're not mutating too much. I think we're okay. Gonna double up on that cold resistance so we spread faster. Cysts I can handle. As long as we don't get like a tier 4 symptom, I think we're gonna be all right. Notice we're rolling in the DNA thanks to all of this extra severity though. More drug resistance combined with the fomites should mean that the wealthy countries fall apart very quickly for me. Do we wanna go for some more air transmission? Maybe. What I'm mostly concerned about is whether we can get on boats. Boats are gonna be kind of important. I don't want more severity, so I guess I'm going to go for horses. The reason I'm doing this is I want to get into places like Russia and use that rural transmission to get into places like Greenland sooner since we don't have any meaningful amount of water transmission. Although I say that, it looks like there actually is an extreme bioaerosol. You don't need water transmission to get to it, but that's the only way I'm going to be able to get onto boats easily. So let's use that and pray that we can get into Greenland. The severity is still quite high. We did get a headache. This would lead to mania. We do have cysts. I think I'm going to go ahead and devolve the diarrhea, try to reduce that severity just a smidge. Drug immunity could be good, but it also could not. Let's go for fomites and indirect contact, misspelled. The disease is spread through saliva and other bodily fluids. Perfect, but the mutation rate jumps up by a lot. Fear slows down the economy, but we have pretty much maxed out the infectivity I can hope for without increasing the severity too much. Fever did come back. All right, we are getting into Iceland, New Zealand, looks like the Caribbean, Madagascar, and Greenland are the only ones that are left. We could go for more drug immunity, and I think I will because that should make me explode across a lot of these countries here, so we're going to try for that. Russia's starting to hit critical mass. Please, for the love of God, send a boat. Send a boat! Do it! And honestly, maybe I just save up DNA. I mean, I guess we could go for a bit more. Okay, horses is not as severe as wolves. We'll just double up on that rural mutation chance a little bit more. Diarrhea, still a thing. Let's go ahead and pull that back. I'm trying not to let the severity go any higher. We got a boat in. I saw it close down, but we got in. Oh, no, Madagascar, no! Okay, so let me guess. This is going to be a failure unless there is a spore burst of some sort. Well, we got points. Let's go for things. Paranoia, hallucinations, aggression. Decreases the mutation rate? Interesting. Yeah, we got a boat out just in time for Greenland, but not so much for the Madagascar. Apparently, we should have gone for some heat resistance on top of everything else. Total brain death, not exciting. Diarrhea, dysentery, yes. Okay, so this is a failure. We have to restart, and that's fine. But what I'm learning here is you really do want to try and keep your mutations contained for at least a good long while. So we're going to go ahead and reduce some of that. A couple more points there, and boom. Okay, so we've put this back down as much as possible. It's still going to be a problem, but at least we can try to contain it a tiny little bit. I'm going to play exactly the same as I did before, but we're going to go ahead and get things like heat resistance a little earlier if we haven't already gotten into Madagascar, and see if we can get a little bit luckier this time around. Okay, I see a boat going into Greenland just in time as they try to close things down. Now we can unleash hell upon everyone else. Maximum mutation chance, please. Also, can we devolve these? Oh, yes, we can. All right, let's go ahead and reduce all that nonsense. Boom, cure is at 50%, huh? All right, well, there's the mania, so that'll slow you down. There's the fever, that'll slow you down a little bit. What else do we want to get? Anything that'll slow down the cure would be great. Let's go for paranoia, hallucinations, and aggression. Does decrease the mutation rate, but I think we'll live with that also. I'll grab a quick level of the genetic hardening in order to try to slow things down. Too much lethality too quick can still make us lose the game, so we do need to be somewhat careful about that. Right now, Greenland's looking okay. 75% complete on the cure. The total brain death is probably excessive. So I would say let's reduce that, except the problem being, I sort of suspect that the result will be that we don't have enough DNA in order to actually get it back when we need to, or it's just going to come right back. So we're going to hit critical mass up here, okay. I need some points in order to actually pull back on the cure. Let's go for a genetic reshuffle. That buys me a lot of time, and there's a really high lethality stat in what it can do. What? Boom! Okay. That wasn't too bad. I mean, yeah, that took a little attempt there and a little tiny bit of luck, as anything involving mutations would. Let's actually buy ourselves a bit more score here if we can. Thank you very much. But overall, I think it's certainly a fine scenario. It's a little bit fast-paced because, you know, again, a lot of it comes down to manage that mutation chance just long enough to get where you need to, and then just let the horses run wild, you know? If you can do that, you're going to end up being completely fine. 493 days, 60% cure progress, 45,918 points, and 2 stars on brutal difficulty. I think this would actually be pretty darn challenging on mega brutal. A lot of luck involved, and the genetic drift could absolutely mess you up, but with enough attempts, you could, I think, theoretically beat this on mega brutal, and that's a good sign because it means that it's at least a somewhat balanced scenario, if a little bit quick in this particular case. Overall, I think it's not half bad. I think that it's fine. I mean, there's a lot of randomizer type scenarios that are very mutation driven, right? There's a lot of those out there, but this one actually did it pretty well, I think, overall. It doesn't feel like too much of a repeat of the same old trope. It's a pretty solid scenario. Thank you all very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, even though this video might have been a little bit short. If so, then I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.